Hello, Teak Nation. This is Pete Dawson and Shane McClure, your Northeast Regional team. Shane and I are also supported by about 50 volunteers in the Northeast who work with our 71 chapters and colonies. We're coming to you to start a series of video updates on the successes of Teak this year. We're going to share how Teak can continue to flourish. The changes to our society, economy, and university created by the coronavirus have had a serious impact on how we all operate and connect. That pales in comparison to the actual impact of the virus. So I do want to take a moment to be respectful and to be mindful of all of those who are out there struggling with this disease, and to offer a heartfelt thank you to those who are on the front line fighting it. In Teak, we see this as an opportunity to face this challenge with creativity, to become stronger than we've ever been before. Shane and I are going to take a little bit of time today to outline some ways in which that can happen.
Even though the physical distance that separates us is going to interrupt a lot of our operations and gatherings and events, we need to recognize that our Teak spirit and connection is much more than that. As Pete and I have shared on most of our visits, the major focus of Teak needs to be our mission, what brings us all together, to aid men in their mental, moral, and social development for life. And as Pete mentioned, we're going to go through some of the ways that we've already succeeded in this as a region, and you'll hear from the other regions around the country as well of how the fraternity is already flourishing and how we can continue to do so.
So let's take a little bit of time to dig into what Shane said. Let's start with mental development. Let's think about education. 340 people, including 50 alumni, attended our regional leadership conference in Jersey City. It was the largest gathering of Teaks in this region since 2014. Our volunteers and staff hosted 12 province forums where 411 members gathered with nearby chapters around the region. Think about your own academics. Many of our chapters were off to an incredible start academically this year. Now that you've shifted to an online environment, it is time to double down, work together, and to make the most of this semester.
In terms of moral development and fighting for a good cause, we've already done very well working to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We are currently at $144,000 as a region, up $26,000 from this time last year. And for those of you who were able to attend the Regional Leadership Conference, you were a part of a major online fundraising campaign called the No More Cancer Rally. This was done within 24 hours, and we raised over $20,000 as a region with those in attendance. So there's potential to still share that mission, to fight for that, and to raise money for the hospital. Additionally, we stand at 85% completion of our e-compliance. So there's a large chunk of you out there who have already taken the time to review the proper practices and procedure for this fraternity to keep each other safe. Check in with those who haven't and make sure that they are up to date on that module. And if you as a chapter are trying to still have a philanthropy event, reach out to Pete or myself or Nate Lehman on staff, and we can help you set that up. Each chapter does have a personal St. Jude page that you can access at stjude.org/TKE.
Social development is about coming together. It's about community. It's about checking in on one another. It's about all the things that we need to do now in the face of this new challenge. Now is the time to make the most of the social network that you've created in Teak, and now is the time to reach out to people that you don't normally connect with. Many of our frauders are doing that. As we mentioned already, our region, our chapters and colonies in the region are growing this year. We're ahead in candidates and initiates of where we were at this time last year. This virus has not held any of you back, and it's incredibly impressive at the collegiate level. In addition to the successes our existing chapters have had, we are fortunate enough to have had several groups come back to the fraternity this year. University of Delaware, our new Pi colony, has restarted and has 50 members and is preparing to charter, even though their campus is currently closed. Our Delta Gamma chapter at the University of Connecticut is thriving and growing. They restarted in February and they're off to a really good start, continuing online. Our Alpha Eta chapter at Rutgers, New Brunswick, got off to a strong start this fall. They're working to revitalize, regrow, and build their chapter. Our Mu Alpha chapter at Westchester University started right as this crisis began. They only had 2 weeks on campus together, and since then they've operated entirely online with the help of our expansion coordinator, Victor Casanova. They've done an incredible amount of work as a group and are off to a good start, supported by their alumni and Victor. Our Kappa Zeta colony at Hobart and William Colleges is coming back this year. Kappa Zeta is forming entirely online. Students got together and wanted something more. They wanted a fraternal experience, and they reached out to us and decided, even though campus was closed, they're going to go build a new group. The region is growing, as I said. We have over 500 initiates for this year from our current chapters that are going to hit the ground running as members this fall. There are 400 candidates currently registered. All of our chapters completed recruitment right before campus is closed. And those 400 members, in many cases, are already going through online candidate education and are looking forward to being a full part of TEAC as we move into the summer.
The last part of the mission that we want to highlight is the For Life portion. We have a massive team, as Pete mentioned, of volunteers who are willing to help enhance your experience as much as possible. So make sure you're reaching out to them to check in and see how they can help you and help your experience. We have an alumni training module that many of our volunteers have done and completed already. And so we're asking anybody who would still like that training to continue to educate themselves during this time. Seniors, we know that this is a especially challenging time for you. I know this isn't how you expected your last semester to go, not being around your brothers and your campus experience. But there's still ways that we can salvage that. You can, if your chapter typically does a send-off, create a video thanking the members of the chapter for what they've done. Thank the alumni for starting the chapter in the first place. Find a way to still connect with the younger members and give them that piece of wisdom of how TEAC has impacted your collegiate experience. If you need help preparing for the workforce, we do have many alumni who have offered to help with resumes, interview skills, LinkedIn accounts, anything like that that can put you in a good place when you're applying for jobs at the end of this year. We want you to stay engaged as much as possible and continue this experience. When this all blows over, and we hope it does sooner rather than later, there's going to be more opportunities for you to engage with the fraternity. So please don't let yourself get distant from it when there's so many opportunities there for you.
We are all in this together. Shane and I have spent most of the last couple of weeks in Zoom conference calls and meetings with chapters. It's all we're doing all day long. The rest of the staff is doing the same thing. We're here for you. If you want to get together, work through some issues, if you want us to jump into an officer meeting or a chapter meeting, we're here to do it. We're ready to do it, and we're ready to support you in any way that we can. I encourage you to make the most of this experience and to connect with others around the country, connect with other brothers in different states and across TEAC Nation. Expand your TEAC neighborhood virtually. Our fraternity bond goes way beyond physical distance. Our volunteers and our staff are committed now more than ever to enhancing the fraternity experience. Let's work together to support one another and further the mission of our fraternity. Frauders, I love the fraternity.
Frauders, I love the fraternity.